Hello and welcome to Fulham Debate. My name's Stephen and today we're going to discuss the 9 Fulham players that are going to be out of contract this summer. Do we need to keep hold of them or are we ready to let them leave ahead of our potential Premier League return? Despite Fulham losing to Huddersfield earlier in the day, it doesn't seem to have stopped our charge on towards the Premier League. So, with that in mind, which of these players do we need to keep? So first up we have Jean-Michel Seri. He cost us £27 million when we first purchased him, and he's formed his magic under Marco Silva. Is he good enough to cut it in the Premier League? I say yes. I think he would be a great part of our squad and we shouldn't let him go. He may be on high wages, but I think he's the kind of player that we're going to need in the Premier League and I would be happy for him to stay. So I hope we can secure his services before the summer. The brilliant vet Tim Ream, our American superstar centre-back, and is one of the longest-serving Fulham players now at the club, and we all absolutely love him. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and as a Championship defender, he's one of the best. Has had a lot of question marks over his performances in the Premier League, though, and can he cut it now at the age in his twilight years of his career? Unfortunately, I do not think that he's going to be up to scratch in the Premier League. Would he be good enough to be on the bench? I'm not so sure. I think we should see out this season, hopefully celebrate promotion with him, lifting the Championship title, and he can go down as a Fulham legend, but we should probably let him move on. Thank you, Tim Ream. Now, Neeskens Kavana is incredibly creative, and this season has been taking on players at every given opportunity and has really proven himself to be a key part of this Fulham squad. And the question mark remains, as does with us as a club and all of our players, is whether he can cut it in the Premier League. For me, I think this is a contract renewal for sure. We should keep hold of him. He offers a really good threat going forward. Would I start him in my Premier League team week in, week out? That remains to be seen depending on who we can bring in. But I think it's good to have him on the books. He's a great personality and puts 110% in. So I'd like to keep him if we can. Alfie Mawson cost a reported fee of £15.8 million. Now, he has the ability to be a fantastic defender. He's got legs like a poppadom. So don't think we should be renewing this contract. He is on high wages, very inconsistent. If you can find a smaller Championship club, earn a lower wage and get over his injury problems, then he could perhaps be a great servant to another team, an absolute stonewall defender for another club. I don't think he is for us in the Premier League. Having said that, if he was to be in the starting lineup, I wouldn't have huge concerns in a Premier League match. I think he is capable, so I wouldn't be annoyed if we signed him a new contract. However, I feel like we don't need players with heavy injuries and heavy wages in our books anymore when you think of the likes of him and Terence Gongolo, who we still have another 2 to 3 years left. So for me, Mawson out. Next one is Big Heck, Michael Hector. I think he's a fantastic centre-back. Disappointed to see him fall down the pecking order. Sure, there were various reasons for that, and perhaps he just wasn't quite up to the pace. But what about now? He has been sitting on the bench, and with the likes of Tim Ream potentially retiring, is he good enough for the Premier League? I think he's brilliant. I would get him on a new contract, and he'd probably be on the bench for me in the Premier League. He deserves to be playing week in, week out though, so I would be happy to see him playing regular football at another club. But I have full faith in him and I'd really like to see him come through and stay within our squad. Now Tyrese Francois, this has been an interesting one. He seemed to break through into the Fulham team at the start of the season and had a little injury concern halfway through. But he's been a very talented, promising player. I believe he's 22 years old though, so not as young as he needs to be to not be getting this kind of game time. He does need to be playing more regular football now and he has a lot of potential, so I think we have to let him go and hopefully he'll find a club where he can play week in, week out and really show his talents. I think he will develop into a fantastic player once he gets all of that game time, but not someone we'd be able to use in the Premier League, so I think we need to let him go. And of course the biggest name going out of contract this summer, as we all know, is Fabio Carvalho. It goes without saying that I think all Fulham fans would love to see him sign a new contract, and it is looking increasingly unlikely, unfortunately. He is extremely passionate about the club. You can see that when we concede a goal, when we score a goal, the emotion is high, the effort and endeavour in the game is 110%. He brings a fantastic attitude and creativity, and he is one of my favourite Fulham players and, in my opinion, the best player to come through the Fulham Academy. At the moment, it looks like Liverpool are trying to tie him down on a deal that could see him loaned back to Fulham for the season in the Premier League, which could be a fantastic deal if we get to see him for another season, help us stay up, and then he gets that move to Liverpool that he clearly is interested in. And hopefully we'll be able to get some reimbursements from that as well, so we will see. However, it looks like he isn't going to be a long-term Fulham player. I hope we can sort out a deal that sees him for a bit longer and gets us a half-decent cash deal. And finally, you may have forgotten about a certain goalkeeper called Fabry. Yes, he has been on our books for many, many years now and has gone completely under the radar. However, Marcus Silva did recently say that he is fantastic in training. He's fully part of the goalkeeping team and he's keeping the other two on their toes. It's extremely unlikely we'll ever see him in a Fulham shirt again, though. He'll be out of contract. Probably on a half-decent wage for himself, so one we can definitely get rid of. I can't believe we kept him for this long, to be honest, so very strange. But I think we have two keepers that are more than capable, and I imagine we'll bring in a new one if we do make promotion. So that's all from me today. Thanks for checking out this video. Who would you keep and who would you let go? Are we ready for the Premier League, or do we have a lot of business to do before the opening match? I hope Tony Khan can get it right this season, get the transfers in early enough that are of a quality that we can compete. My name's Steven, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!